let me piece yourself back together now. What's your vision?
I like you must have a business card.
Well, yes, I do. Thank you.
You do? At 13, you have your own business card. Okay, that's a nice start. I'll get in touch with you later.
Sure.
What do you do?
Oh, well, mainly, I like to call myself a software and cognitive developer because I love developing with cognitive computing and artificial intelligence. I am an algorithmist. I love working with, designing, and implementing algorithms. I'm a keynote and TEDx speaker. I'm an author. I've written a book, and I'm working on another one about IBM Watson. And, of course, I'm also an IBM champion for cloud and honorary.
Someone just get me the flannel countdown. Do you go to school?
Well, I'm currently homeschooled in grade 8, going to grade 9 now.
Wow. Okay, so you're bright. Artificial intelligence, it's taking over the world. Is that fair to say?
Well, you see, that's actually one thing that I believe a lot of people have, the sort of misconception that artificial intelligence is this technology that was made to replace humans at really everything we do, whether it be, our jobs or whatever we do at home every day. But really what I believe is that artificial intelligence was developed and is continuing to be developed for the sole purpose of really augmenting our life and amplifying our skills or capabilities and what we can do every day.
But what about when the computers actually learn that they're better than us?
Well, you see, that's sort of called a singularity of artificial intelligence, at which point artificial intelligence has surpassed human intelligence to the point that we cannot control it. But really what I believe at this point, artificial intelligence, I won't go into the details right now since we're who's your target audience? Yeah, sure. Now, I actually have a YouTube channel called me.I Teaches that I've been running for around 6 years now, and it has over 144 videos and now 22,000 subscribers. And so on it, I love to teach about computing, really programming, these algorithms that I develop, machine learning especially, math, science, and especially technologies like IBM Watson. Because, of course, I like to share my knowledge because I realize that there's this lack of resources for people to learn about technologies like AI, which is why I absolutely love sharing my knowledge through, of course, these YouTube videos, the books that I'm authoring, the keynotes that I have, and really Watson comes in here in such a great way because Watson allows me...
What's Watson?
Sure.
Well, Mark thinks he's a golfer, but what is Watson?
Now, IBM Watson is essentially a cognitive system that allows developers to incorporate cognitive and machine learning into their applications without having to code in the actual intelligence. And what this means is that, of course, right now, really one of the main reasons developers aren't incorporating more machine learning into their apps is because it's so hard to do. It's really difficult to incorporate intelligence because...
Has the I'm going to take this somewhere else, this interview. Has the Homeschooling Association of the World got hold of you as the front person?
Well, there is actually a Homeschooling Legal Defense Association, I believe, HSLDA, in Canada, and I actually had a keynote for them last year in Niagara Falls.
You're the poster boy for homeschooling, aren't you?
Well, I did have a keynote for them, and I talked a lot about the advantages of homeschooling and why it's great for kids who want to go into different and really targeted subjects.
Okay, I want to get right down to business now. When did you realise you were bright and smart, and smarter than most?
Well, I originally started coding when I was 5 with simple languages like Fox Pro and Batch. But eventually, at 9 years old, I had my very first iOS app accepted into the Apple App Store called T-Tables.
But did your mum and dad do something to you between 0 and 5 that plug you into the wall? What did they do to you? At 5, you were
Are you smarter than your mum and dad, by the way? Already?
Well, I have... my dad used to work as a computer programmer, but he used to work with, simple, regular programming languages like Fox Pro, Batch, a little bit of C, etc. But you see, now I'm really interested in artificial intelligence and how it can actually be implemented on all these different platforms.
You'd be a nightmare to teach. You'd be an absolute nightmare to teach, wouldn't you? Because you'll be smarter than the lecturers.
I ever want to get in an argument with you, ever.
But I would like to see you on a quiz show because I think you would nail that.
Well, you see, there is one thing that I've been working on, and it's essentially an app called Ask me, an NLQA system. And so essentially, it's a system that can take your natural language questions and answer them for you using Watson and artificial intelligence. And actually, the original reason why I made Ask me, there's an Indian version of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show called KBC, which I originally wanted Ask me to play. So that actually ties in quite a bit with what I wanted to do.
It's nice to see you. Do you get because you're homeschooling? You wouldn't go to school dances and things like that, would you? School socials and things?
Well, I actually used to be regularly schooled until grade 6.
Right.
Then I became homeschooled, and so of course I still do have my friends.
Still a victory for public schools.
Take that golf ball
Yep.
and bring it back to me when you've actually worked out a way in which it'll always go straight. Because I think you could do it.
Technically, using a genetic algorithm or something.
I knew there'd be an answer. Hey, it's brilliant to meet you. You're a complete inspiration.
Thank you.
And I hope my son was watching, a 7-year-old son. Message to Buster Garner, you got work to do, mate. Do your homework, and we got to sharpen things up. Nice to see you.
Thank you very
All
much.
the very best.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Thank
You're amazing. Okay, news is next, and then we are joined by today's panel, which won't be as smart as this guy, but will still be good, and we will head back to some of the beach as well.
I wanted
for a
to
game
use
of
my
9 and 10.
classroom
So much
computer,
pressure
but the
now.
teacher said no because one was occupied and the other one was broken since it wouldn't turn on. 2 teachers already tried fixing it, but to no avail. I asked if I could try, and the teacher said yes. So a few seconds later, I came back with joy because I fixed it. It was a simple problem. The power cable was only loosely plugged in. At 8 years old, I was good at programming, but not that great at my times tables. So I created a Windows application to help me practice my times tables, which helped me raise my test scores. I then realized that this app could help others to learn as well, so I converted it to an iOS app. And when I was 9 years old, my very first iOS app, T-Tables, was accepted into the Apple App Store. My next step was to then author a book on iOS development so others can learn programming and make their own apps as well. I then began to share my explorations with the world by speaking at conferences. And now, at 13 years old, I am a keynote speaker, an author, an algorithmist, and a YouTuber at Tanmay Teaches, since my goal is to help at least 100,000 aspiring beginners on their first steps to becoming programmers. Along this journey, I stumbled upon a documentary about IBM Watson, a supercomputer that was not only able to play, but also win Jeopardy against the 2 best human competitors. Because of Watson, I started working with machine learning and artificial intelligence, or AI for short. In fact, my passion for and belief in AI brought me to work on a project that is very close to my heart. Please take a moment and think about the word connected. It's a simple word that means a whole lot. Right now, you are connected to the entire world via your social media, your phone, and your text messages here at TEDx. And even though your phones are muted, every other feature is functional. But now I want you to imagine, if you can, sitting alone in a room, and people walk in, they're talking, you look at them, and you can't move or speak. But you desperately want to say hello and join the conversation, but you can't. You're disconnected. I want to introduce you to Boo. Since the age of 7, she has Rett syndrome, a debilitating neurological disorder, meaning that not being able to communicate or join any conversation has been her reality for the past 22 years. Imagine a world like this and how lonely it would be. Because of my explorations, I was invited to join a team. And my part is to implement machine learning algorithms to help augment human life, such as Boo's. This intelligent machine will give her the ability to do something that you and I take for granted. And that is the ability to communicate and to connect. This smart technology will not only help Boo, but many others with similar disabilities to reconnect to the world. And unlike Stephen Hawking, the famous scientist who can type on his computer with cheek and eye movements, the system we are creating will be connected directly to Boo's brainwaves to augment her abilities, as she's unable to use even body movement to communicate. How this technology works is it gathers brain waves through a special headset which are interpreted by deep neural networks that I train. Initially, the system will understand intents like yes, no, not sure, and maybe. And so hopefully in the near future it will help people like Boo, whose existence and even treatment could be made simpler with the abilities of connect to the outside world. Technology. I strongly believe that in the next 15 to 20 years, those with severe disabilities will be able to communicate and connect with the outside world and carry out entire conversations. And through the power of AI, connect to the outside world. I cannot wait to have a conversation with Boo. I am really excited about these technologies because the possibilities are endless. Thank you very much.